Hello, lovelies. Let's start with new Patreon students for this month. Val, who joined the high school tier, Anonymous, the Duchess, and Nature vs. Narcissism podcast, new to our middle school tier, and Sam from the Netherlands, welcome to our elementary school tier. Welcome all, and thank you. Plus, the True Crime Podcast Meetup is fast approaching. Don't forget to head over to Idle Hour in North Hollywood on Saturday, October 6th at 4 p.m. Murderish, Crime, White Wine True Crime, The Cleaning of John Doe, the Pros and Cons podcast, and Pretty Scary will all be there to mix and mingle. And you never know who else could show up. See you there, and don't be scared. Episode number 18. Happy Family. Have you ever heard some gossip or watched a story on TV and thought, wow, I can't believe something like that could happen to them. They seem like such a happy family. Well, as we have all witnessed in our own lives, anything can happen to anyone at any time and at the hands of the most unexpected people as well. Part 1. Michael Helms.
It was all students could talk about today at Gilbert High School, how two teens could be charged with first-degree murder. Twitter was buzzing about it, with one student tweeting, quote, "How can you kill your own mom?"
Little boys are often the apple of their mother's eye. Scabby knees, scuffed-up shoes, and endless appetites may be a nuisance in the moment, but these things are surely missed when Mama's little guy grows up. Tina Spencer of Mesa, Arizona had just one child, a son named Michael. At 16 years old, he stood 6 foot 6 inches tall, weighing in around 260 pounds. Married to Michael's stepfather, Tina worked as a ramp agent for U.S. Airways back in 2013. Michael attended Gilbert High School and was a member of the JROTC. He was described by friends and classmates as a giant teddy bear, and he had aspirations to join the military after graduation. Friends said they'd heard bits and pieces about tensions between Michael and his mother, but it never seemed to be anything serious. No one said that they ever expected it would end in violence. He would say one day that they had been arguing, but he would follow up soon after with details of something his mother had done to help him out. Although everything seemed fine on the outside and to his classmates, apparently things were not going well at home. The main issue appeared to be Michael's devious behavior at school. Shortly after the beginning of the 2013 school year, Michael had forged his mother's signature on the form requesting free school lunches. And this was after he had already been caught writing and forging a signature on a letter. Michael wanted to be the teacher's aide for one of his teachers. However, she required that he get a letter of recommendation from his guidance counselor. Well, he made the poor decision to write and sign the letter himself. His teacher became suspicious when she noticed several words were misspelled, and a few were even crossed out. Police got involved, and Michael could have been charged in juvenile court, but the counselor chose not to press charges. He felt that whatever discipline planned at school would be sufficient. By Friday, October 26, 2013, tensions between Michael and his mother came to a head. After school that day, Michael and his 17-year-old friend Christian Lee Blakely were at the Spencer home. At some point, Tina and her son spoke over the phone, and he was grounded for his recent misbehaviors. This included having his cell phone taken away. According to court documents, once Michael was off the phone with Tina, he began to flesh out a diabolical plan with the aid of his pal Christian. Michael Helms was so enraged by the thought of being grounded that he decided to lie in wait for her to come home and kill her. Upon entering the house later that evening, Tina Helms Spencer was struck in the head repeatedly with a large, heavy frying pan. 16-year-old Michael Helms continued the attack with a hammer and claimed his mother's life by strangling her. Christian Blakely stood in the shadows, watching but not participating in the ambush. When the frenzied attack concluded, the body of Tina Spencer was carried outside and hidden in the backyard shed. Christian helped Michael mop the floor and clean up other evidence around the scene before leaving for the night. Michael Helms then lay in wait for his stepfather to return home, and he too was viciously attacked as he entered the house.
911 emergency. Yes. I just walked into my house with my son assaulted me with a frying pan.
Okay, is he still there?
No, I finally got him to get up off me. He went to the restroom and I ran.
Okay, so that was 10 minutes ago and you're not with him now?
No.
Okay.
I just left like 2 minutes ago. He held me down.
Oh, so it was 2 minutes ago?
2 minutes ago that I left. 10 minutes ago since he assaulted me. And I don't know where my wife is. He keeps saying that she's not home. I didn't have a chance.
Are you injured? Are you injured? You are? You need paramedics?
I don't know. I have a huge lump on my face. I don't know the extent of it.
Okay, so as far as you know, your son's still at the apartment or the house?
Yes.
And where are you at?
I'm driving. I grabbed a frying pan to try to defend myself, and he just came at me like crazy.
Now, your son, does he know the police have been called?
I don't know. I told him I was going to call him, and he started screaming up, pulled out my phone, and threatened to hit me with a pan over and over, and saying he was going to kill me, and said you can die and go to hell, and started raising the pan at me again and again. And
Do you think your son would try to attack your wife?
if he attacked me, I'm sure he would. She was asleep, so I don't even know if he went in and attacked her or not. My dogs didn't come out when he attacked me, nothing. I think I got 4 feet in the house when I got hit in the face with a frying pan in the blackness. I tried to call my wife, I didn't hear the phone, nothing, and I don't know, so on.
Police rushed to the Spencer home and, using the details provided by Mr. Spencer's 911 call, were able to quickly ascertain the severity of the situation. That house was in obvious disarray, and it was evident that a violent struggle had taken place. Drag marks and a blood trail led investigators to the backyard shed where the body of Tina Helms Spencer was found. It was after 4 a.m. on Saturday, October 27th by this time. The frying pan and hammer were collected and taken into evidence as the alleged murder weapons. Michael's stepfather told investigators about his friend Christian Blakely, who by Saturday had been checking the news for any word of the murder in the media. Following the attempted murder of his stepfather, Michael stole his mother's car and took off driving north toward Arizona's high country. By 4 p.m. Saturday, authorities were at Christian's house, and so was Michael Helms. Following his 100-mile drive, he headed to his best friend's house. Both were promptly arrested.
Investigators say 16-year-old Michael Helms beat his mom with a hammer and frying pan before choking her to death. They say his 17-year-old friend, Christian Blakely, stood by and watched, then helped him clean up the mess before putting his mom's body in this backyard shed.
The boys told relatively matching stories. However, Christian only admitted to helping Michael mop up blood. Michael, however, asserted that Christian helped him carry Tina's body to the shed, but Christian claimed he just walked alongside his friend as he disposed of his mother's body. Christian Blakely openly admitted that he was in no way coerced or threatened to be witness to or participate in Tina Spencer's murder, but he made no attempt to report the impending crimes, nor did he attempt to leave before they occurred.
The teen is accused of using a hammer and a frying pan to kill his own mother. Then he tried to kill his stepdad. Now, both he and his friend are facing first-degree murder charges and could spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Police say Helms admitted to the crime. Investigators believe this all started because Helms was upset with his mother because she was punishing him after he got in trouble at school.
16-year-old Michael Helms and 17-year-old Christian Blakely were held on $1 million bond each. Helms was charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, and concealment of a body.
he is going to be treated as an adult. When you see the pictures of how big he is, the neighbors didn't even think he was a kid. They all thought he was a college-age kid or older. He's huge.
Blakely was charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and concealment of a body. Although classmates described both boys as nice, caring, and considerate of others, Michael Helms' neighbors had a different impression of the hulking teen. They recalled the time that he said he had a Ford Mustang, but that he kept it parked at a friend's house. He still repeatedly asked friends and neighbors for rides. Another story he told neighbors was that he had a boa constrictor which required live chickens as meals. No one ever saw any evidence of that either. But probably the most disturbing thing told by Michael Helms was recounted by a neighbor named Phil, who stated that after school on the day of the murder, Michael told him that his mother and stepfather had returned to Ohio to be closer to family. Phil said that Michael repeated that the house was all his now. He said it 3 times, the haunted neighbor recalled when interviewed. Charged as an adult, Helms pled guilty in early February 2015 after having previously pled not guilty. Sentencing was scheduled for March 16th, Michael's 18th birthday. Officially an adult, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison and 5 years probation. He was looking at 33.5 years. Christian Blakely pleaded guilty to hindering the prosecution and received no jail time. At sentencing, Michael's grandmother, Barbara Helms, pleaded with Judge Bruce Cohen to show some leniency, stating, "There's no amount of time he spends that will bring Tina back. She was the strength of the family. We'll never have that again." According to Helms' defense attorney Albert Duncan, childhood abuse along with bipolar disorder played a role in the commission of these crimes. Tina and Michael had lived with Barbara Helms for 5 years when he was a child. Barbara said that she herself witnessed both physical and mental abuse inflicted on him at the hands of his mother. Judge Cohen acknowledged that Michael's grandmother's request for leniency was taken into consideration, as was Michael's age. He told Michael that his crime was absolutely cruel when handing down his sentence. At his sentencing, the 18-year-old seemed remorseful, stating that he is not the monster his family now sees him to be. "There are no amount of words I can say to show I am sorry. The terms are fair for what I've done. I will never do this again. I will refine myself to be the person I was raised to be." He had hopes that his family would find a way to forgive him.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Rosie.
We are the Voice of the Victim podcast. Every Thursday, we discuss cases that have been influenced by abuse in some way and try to make sense of these senseless things.
We also try to identify the missed opportunities where people could have made a difference in the future of the victim.
We hope to help others know what to look for so we can protect ourselves and our children.
Subscribe to us on your favorite app and help us spread our message.
And remember, if you see something, say something.
We are all the voice of the victim.
What podcast brings you true stories of exceptionally smart and insanely dumb crimes every week?
Dumb and Busted, obviously.
But Hannah, where is your one-stop shop if you want to hear about a killer nurse, a pervy arsonist, or a group of hella old dudes breaking into a vault?
Dumb and Busted. Allison, come on, seriously? We host the show together.
Okay, last question. Where can I go if I need to hear the #1 song of 1999, I Want It That Way?
What? The Backstreet Boys album Millennium? How did we even get on this tangent?
Oh, okay. Sorry for being the only one who's ever fallen victim to their tight harmonies and timeless songs. Anyway, please listen and subscribe to Dumb and Busted on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Crime you later!
Part 2. Aaron Jacobson.
A housewife simply vanishes into Tempe, Arizona's thin, dry air. Where in the world is Cookie Jacobson? It's a haunting mystery that cops desperately want to solve.
September 21st will mark 20 years since 49-year-old Cookie Jacobson seemingly vanished from her home in Tempe, Arizona. A former home health nurse She had to stop working 5